G'day Bambies, Kaleidow here and welcome to part 2 of building the abandoned beauty in The Sims 4. So this is part 2 as I just said. So if you guys haven't watched part 1, I will leave a card for you guys to click on in the top right corner. So if you haven't checked that out yet, please do, because we build the majority of the exterior of that house in that video. While today we are working on the inside. So I'm really excited for today because the inside is very different to the outside. I feel like the outside is very kind of whimsical almost. It's sort of inspired by The Secret Garden, which is one of my favorite tales from when I was a kid. And the inside is a little bit more spooky. And I have to say that while I was building it, I did get a little bit spooked out because abandoned houses are kind of scary in the sense that, I don't know, they just feel so, well, obviously they are vacant, but you just don't know what could be in them, and it's just a little bit spooky. You don't know if there could be ghosts, you don't know if there could be a homeless person or someone just like staying there secretly. I don't know, a ghoul, a monster. You have no idea, and I don't know why. I know it's The Sims, but it kind of freaked me out. But yeah, I am so easily scared, so that's probably the reason why. I did try to make the inside of this house still quite ornate. The place has been abandoned for around 10 or so years, and because it's on an island which is supposed to be quite secluded, and the community that live on the island aren't really the type of people who would raid or steal from it. So a lot of the furniture is still there. There are a lot of very old antiques, a few little ornaments here and there, but there are also a whole bunch of holes, and there's definitely a big problem in the kitchen. We have a tree growing in the kitchen and through the roof. So we're definitely going to have to do something about that. And we also have a whole bunch of issues upstairs. One of the bathrooms is inaccessible. We have a bedroom which is inaccessible, and also an entire tower. So that sort of has to do with the story. So if you guys don't know, I am actually creating this abandoned beauty for my series Goddess, which is a Let's Play, and it's going to have cinematics in it also, and it's storyline based. So that's why the house is abandoned, because it has to do with the storyline that I want to do for the series. And if you guys want to kind of learn a little bit more about that, I'll also have the creator sim of the family that I'm going to be playing as in the series. I'll have that link down below in the description. But yeah, they are called the Belvederes, and basically this home is supposed to be the girls. There are 3 daughters. The girls' parents' family, like holiday home, I suppose. Unfortunately, they never got to visit it themselves when they were younger. So it was sort of like a hideaway holiday home that their parents had, and maybe in the future they were planning to bring their daughters there, but I don't want to give too much away about the storyline, but basically their father goes missing. And because of that, I think their mother stopped doing a lot of things that she would have enjoyed in the past, like visiting the villa or this house. So it's been neglected, abandoned for 10 years or so, and the girls have grown up, and you know, this place has just been left behind. But now in the story, what's happening is the girls are coming back to this place because some things have happened in their family. They want to find out what is going on, and it's brought them to this house. So there are a lot of secrets and clues that I wanted to hide around the place, and that also is the reason why I kept some of the rooms inaccessible, because I wanted them to be, I don't know, something that we could maybe work towards. The girls are going to have hardly any money, so they're going to have to save up and try to renovate the house if they want to. I'm not sure if they want to stay here forever, but I think it would be really nice if they renovated this place. It has so much potential. It is such a beautiful home, and I think in its prime, it would have probably been the most gorgeous house on the island. The Belvederes are supposed to be a very famous, sort of rich family because they have a big history in exploring and just sort of going overseas and stuff like that. So they definitely were sort of more like traders, I guess their background would be from. But nowadays, they're sort of more just like explorers. They like to go on expeditions and stuff. And maybe that's why the daughters are really into it. It's like almost their instinct is to investigate and really find out what's going on here. So anyways, don't want to talk too much about that story. I might talk a little bit about it in a bit, but let's have a chat about what's going on in the video right now. So there is a bit of a hallway here, and that ends up being opened to nature a bit later on, and we have this lovely lounge room. It's sort of like an entertainment room, really, because we have the piano there. We also have a bar, sitting area with a fireplace. It looks really nice in the end, but it's still kind of run down because, you know, it is an abandoned place. And I do put in some graffiti too, because I thought it would be cool to make it feel like, I don't know, teenagers had broken in. They hadn't really defaced it totally, like they hadn't destroyed everything, but they did tag the walls. So I do chuck in little details like that later on. As I was saying before, I really wanted to show you guys that this family that lived here were quite affluent, so they had a lot of money, and that is why the furniture and bits and bobs here and there that are left behind are quite high quality. So a lot of it doesn't look that old, but I did try to make it kind of look like a crumbling kind of building with the brick walls exposed, the paint is falling off, paintings aren't on the walls anymore, they've fallen down, and other things like that. I am very surprised that people wouldn't have stolen a lot of these artifacts almost. I bet you a lot has been stolen, but fortunately, because they are on an island, and this is in Windenburg, by the way, it sort of is like a time capsule, and I think it's going to be really interesting when we are in the actual series, future episodes, and then they'll be going into those inaccessible rooms and actually seeing these time capsules. Here on YouTube, there are so many videos of people doing urban explorations, and I think they are like the best videos ever. I really enjoy watching them, and I do get spooked out when I watch them too, guys. And I really like the ones where the houses are totally intact and you can really sense that people have lived there. And it feels like they were only in there yesterday, but everything is like covered with this dust, which is almost magical in a way. It just feels and looks weird, and I kind of tried to encapsulate that in this build. I'm not sure if I did it entirely because, you know, it's a little bit more open. I didn't want the girls to have too much stuff because they are sort of, I don't know, like a bit of a rags to riches sort of challenge. So the house does cost a lot of money. It's like 300,000 or more simoleons, which is quite pricey, especially for something that is supposed to be run down and abandoned. But the only reason why is because I wanted to show that the people who lived there were rich, and to do that I had to put in very expensive stuff. But I did try to keep it kind of sparse, but the way that I would have liked to do it would have been more of a time capsule way, but unfortunately that would have been way too much stuff in the house, and hopefully I still kind of gave that sense that they haven't been there. It's sort of been left alone. You can kind of tell though that someone has been in this building because a lot of the chairs, tables and stuff have been turned slightly as if somebody has actually moved them, but we're not entirely sure if that was people or Sims, or if it was actually, I don't know, the elements, maybe the wind or something. I just think it would have been teenagers, honestly. Like, we're going to be having graffiti in this place. They do have these things out the front which are warning people to go away, little barriers, but of course no one's gonna listen to that. And there's obviously other ways to access the house because it's kind of broken down and there's holes in the walls. Either way, I think I did an alright job of making it feel like encapsulated, like somebody's life left behind. It feels whimsical and sad at the same time, kind of nostalgic looking at this build, and maybe that's why I got a little bit creeped out because, I don't know, I've always felt like old abandoned houses are sad. Like, the houses look sad, and it's not just because they, I don't know, look bad and derelict, but also because they used to be alive and they used to have people in them. And I really feel that once a house becomes vacant and less people are actually living in it, like no one's in it, the whole atmosphere around them changes. Like, you can really tell when a house has been abandoned for a long time, and it's eerie and it's sad, and I don't know, some part of me thinks that houses have personalities almost. I don't know if you guys think like that, but if I would put a personality to this house, I would say a grandmother. I reckon a sweet old lady, definitely. So I don't think this house has a negative feel about it at all. It definitely feels a little bit lost in time. But yeah, anyways, right now we are working on the roof. I really wanted there to be a giant hole in the top of the roof and there be a lot of vines kind of like spilling into the home. So this is a giant problem which the girls are going to have to pay to be repaired probably pretty early on in the series, because this is a big issue. Like, every time it rains, it would be such a problem, like water just spilling into the house. So I definitely think they should start doing that. And of course, water is one of the biggest reasons that makes a house look old quickly, because once the water gets in there, like mold starts, wood starts to break down, everything starts to break down, really. Like, the power water has is pretty intense. And I just love all of these vines. Doesn't it kind of look magical, guys? I really wanted two of the bedrooms to be accessible still, so the Sims can still get into them. There are 3 girls, so there is a young adult, a teenager, and a toddler. So they're only going to be able to live in those 2 bedrooms. So 2 of them are going to have to share, but I think that's totally fine. And there are going to be so many holes in those bedrooms later on. Right now, the bedrooms actually look quite pristine. I really like this one, but again, I wanted to give the sense that it's like a time capsule. Things are not perfect though. The bed is not properly against the wall or anything. Obviously, somebody's tried to move it at some point, or just over time it's sort of done that. I think real time capsules, like the ones I've watched on YouTube anyways, everything usually is in place. But because we can't really give the impression of dust and that, like, you know, that old feeling of vacancy in The Sims, we can't really get that in The Sims 4. So what I had to do was just try to make everything look a little bit odd and a little bit off. So then it kind of gave the sense that something is wrong here, and because everything else is looking old, hopefully I've sort of portrayed the sense that it is abandoned, and with all of the vines and things too. I honestly think it's such a lovely aesthetic. It looks really pretty to me. Part of me is excited for the girls to renovate, but they are quite young. The young adult doesn't even have a job, I'm pretty sure. She's not even in a career yet. So it's going to be quite a struggle for them. But I think they'll be able to get through it, and it's going to be a fun series, you know? Like, I haven't done a sort of rags to riches series before. I know that James has done one in the past. I haven't watched his. So I'm not going to have rules or anything. a little bit about the actual series. It's going to be storyline based and full of cinematics, clues, and mysteries. So it's supposed to be surrounded with mystery everything. So I'm not going to have rules. It is not a challenge. I know I kept bringing up rags to riches, but that's sort of what I was inspired by to make this like rundown home, like mansion. I just really felt like it would be an interesting aspect and just make things, yeah, more interesting to watch and more interesting for me to play. So a few things that I cut out of this video was some more of the vines, putting them around. So there are a lot of vines. I also put a lot of cracks and faults in the walls, some of the things that we got in the Vampires game pack, which were very handy to add to that aesthetic and that feel of everything crumbling. And I'm really glad. I think it was a good idea for me to wait. It's actually been so long since I've worked on this story. I've had the same kind of storyline for Goddess for the past like 2 years, and this is my first like drastic change to it all. And I think with the Vampires game pack coming out, it really gave me that idea and like the tools to make something really different. And I'm really glad because I'm keen. I think it's gonna be so much fun fixing up this old house. Like that's going to be only one of their goals. Like there's gonna be a whole bunch of other aspects to the series, including clues and the mystery. Like I said, I of course don't want to give away too much because then it wouldn't be a mystery, wouldn't it? Now we are working on the second bedroom, and this one's a lot more plain. I do like the blue bedroom, but the other bathroom, which is sort of like an ensuite to the blue bedroom, is quite well kept compared to the one downstairs. So the one downstairs looks quite like, I don't know, pretty rough, while that one upstairs is very intact. And I might actually change it around off camera and make it a little bit more like rough around the edges. But it looks pretty good, and I probably should make it look a little bit more abandoned. That's the only room that I kind of made everything look normal and nice. So this room was looking so precious. I had to add in some faults here and there. A lot of water damage around that hole in the ceiling. So I put water damage everywhere with those holes in the ceilings because I thought that just it makes sense, right? And obviously the girls are going to have to fix a lot of things. It's a fixer-upper, of course. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, something which I haven't even considered is there is a lot of antiques and expensive objects in this house. And it's going to cost the girls a lot of money to pay their bills. So to pay those bills, they're probably going to have to sell a lot of these things that their parents owned. And that is going to be hard itself, just to like sell things that you know your parents bought, like, I don't know. Anyways, they're gonna have to probably redo the entire house anyways, so it wouldn't be that big of a deal. And whatever they can sell to survive, like, they're just gonna have to do it, aren't they? Sadly, it's going to be a bit of like survival of the fittest, and I think they'll get through it. You know, Artemis is the eldest, and she is based from the, you know, the goddess of the moon, or the goddess of hunting. And I think she's very feisty, and she's definitely going to be the rock of the family. She's going to take care of her sisters. And we do have Aphrodite, so she is the teenager of the fam, and she is a little bit more superficial. So I don't know how she's going to feel about moving into an abandoned house. I think she's still going to find it very beautiful, but she's going to be the one who's like pushing to redecorate, to renovate. And she's also going to be the one who gets involved with sort of, you know, the politics in town and creating a club or becoming a part of a club. Yeah, she's definitely going to be more focused on the social side of the series, while Artemis is just going to be, I think she's definitely there with a plan, on a mission to find out what's happened to her family and to find out more about these mysteries going on. And then we have the little Bubba, Asteria, where she's not going to be doing much yet, but maybe when she grows up a little bit, we'll see how she goes. But right now we're working on the downstairs. I really love these two little spaces we have down here. I was going to have a bedroom, so this is sort of inspired by a villa, a Greek villa, which I saw images of online, but I ended up making it a bit more simple. So now we are just adding bits and bobs here and there, just a whole bunch of rubble and just, I don't know, rubbish, just debris, honestly, everywhere, because, you know, wind really does bring in a lot of junk, and especially if you have like doors and windows open. Over the 10 years or so that this place has been vacant and has been like falling apart gradually, it is going to happen that there's going to be sticks, there's going to be, I don't know, dead plants and other things that have just been thrown in here by the weather. And I was really grateful that I actually found these objects. They are in the bb.show hidden objects. You have to put in the cheat to find them. And they are actually things that you get when you're fishing. So it's like the rubbish that you accidentally get. I think that's like leaves, the ones that I was mainly putting around the place. There's also sticks, and there is seaweed. I didn't put much seaweed around because I thought that'd be a bit weird. And there's like a log, and there's actually 2 logs that I found with that bb.show hidden objects cheat. Another hole in the roof. I thought this would be kind of neat. And one more hole. There is a hole in the tower too, but because that is inaccessible, like I'm not going to really show that because we don't work on the tower or the other rooms that we can't access yet. And the reason why is because I kind of want to keep those rooms a secret to you guys too. So what I'm going to do is create them as we play throughout the series. Because, you know, you can't actually hide it. Like, you could make the Sims not be able to access it, but, you know, just because the Sims can't see it doesn't mean that you guys, the viewers, and myself can't see it when I'm going up and down levels on the house. So that is the reason why I chose not to do that. Very sorry if you guys were excited to see what those rooms would be, but they are a secret, and I'm actually so keen. I already have all of them like written down what each of them is and like how they're going to like affect the storyline and stuff. So they're going to hopefully be able to get into them one by one, which is going to be fun. So that is basically the insides of the house done. I just really wanted to add in a bunch of rubble and stuff here and there. It's quite simple. My favorite room would have to be the kitchen and, oh my gosh, and the lounge room, the entertainment room. I just think it's really precious looking. You really feel like they would have had some really nice parties in there once upon a time. But yeah, it's sort of sad to see it like all run down and stuff, but oh well. Anyways, we are up to the screenshots now. There is my favorite kitchen. Isn't it cool? I love the tree like growing into it. The dining room, I did add some holes into the ground here and there in a lot of the rooms. And I also added like these dirt piles that look like really cool. It makes the ground not look totally flat. And you guys will see it when I have the Let's Play up. It looks quite nice, I reckon. I love this picture. Oh my gosh. The bathroom. Another shot of a hole in the floor and some vines that have like made their way into the house and really established themselves. Here is the bedroom, which looks quite cozy and very antiquated, doesn't it? I really like this room. It's more bright compared to the others. The very pristine, untouched looking bathroom. Now we're getting to some shots of outside. So there's the top pool. Here's the bottom pool. But I really wanted to show you guys that shot there with the stairs. I really like it. And here's the backyard, the side yard, which is next to the ruins, which is very nice when you have it on play because all of the steam and the bubbles. But yeah, guys, that is it for this build. I hope you guys all enjoyed this two-parter. This house is going to be on the gallery for you guys to check out for yourselves. So you guys can find me on there. I'm just Kaleidow. But yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed. I love you all to bits, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.